You guys are constantly at Good Vibe Squad trying to develop and grow and do more for us as loan officers. What Preston and McBilly have built here and what they're continuing to try to do in developing themselves and us is worth investing in.
So we are live today with Steven, and he is kind enough to take time out of his day to talk to us about his experience working with Good Vibe Squad. How are you doing today, Steven?
I'm good, McBilly. How are you doing, man?
Excellent, man. Excellent. So, really appreciate you taking time out today. So I'll just get into it, man. Why don't you just kind of introduce yourself real quick?
Well, my name is Stephen Ballou. I am a branch manager in the mortgage industry, of course, located in Oklahoma and then recently in Indiana. So kind of shifting gears, moving around a little bit. But yeah, I got into the mortgage industry back in 2018 and got to ride kind of the high wave and then come back down into more of the nitty gritty of trying to get out there and make your business work. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and how I got started.
Sweet. So Steven, can you talk about what made you first decide to sign up and partner with Good Vibe Squad in the first place?
Well, I had seen a lot of your advertisements online. I kept watching them and getting a little bit more interested in what you guys were offering. So I went online and watched some of the testimonials from other loan officers. One thing that really stood out to me that I liked and appreciated was these weren't just random testimonials. You could look up the NMLS, you could see that these were real people. And so it just really interested me in what Good Vibe Squad was doing. I reached out and connected with specifically you, McBilly, on Facebook, and we got the ball rolling.
Sweet, man. I'm sure through that process, there's always this hesitancy. Is this program actually working? What made you ultimately decide to sign up with us?
Lots of people email me about marketing and they could help me do this and they can get me leads on this, but they were all cold. They were all generic. None of them really spoke to me. But the ads with Good Vibe Squad, those kept hitting something, just the format of the ads, they were interesting and they got my attention. They got me interested. And so naturally, I just thought, okay, well, if I'm going to hire somebody to work with me to help me market and to generate leads, then I want to work with people that are generating their own leads in a way that is appealing and interesting to me, because you guys obviously know how to market. It really came together pretty naturally for me, just based off of what I seen from your company looking in from the outside.
So now that we've been working together for quite a bit, Steven, can you talk about your experience, what that looks like?
Absolutely. I think the software that you guys have built, Loan More CRM, has been such an incredible tool. Just the process of bringing the lead in and then nurturing that lead and following up with that lead has been really a big foundational shift. It's really affected the way I have tried to deal with clients in my business, because we didn't have a system in place that would help us nurture a client with text message marketing. Well, we had the email piece, but it's all just so generic. When it's just that, nobody checks their email hardly anymore. But the text messaging piece coming in and rebuilding or building that rapport over and over through all the different touch points, that and the voicemail drops, and just the system is really phenomenal in the way it helps you kind of nurture those leads. And the leads come in and then we can send that out to another referral partner. So a real estate agent that I'm trying to work with, and connect them with a professional that's going to help them get into the right home. That's a win for them and it's a win for us.
Dude, so you mentioned the win-win-win relationship, right? For somebody that don't know this, Steven, now that you have direct-to-consumer opportunities, can you kind of talk to me about that? What is the traditional way of doing it? And now that we've worked together, what does that look like for you?
Kind of the traditional, I think, method that a lot of loan officers use, that and just talking to real estate agents, constantly calling real estate agents, building those relationships, going to events and trying to get realtors to send them clients. Because most of the time when a family, they just see a home. I know the first time I bought a house, that's exactly what I did. I seen a house I liked. I called the agent's name on the sign and the agent asked me if I was pre-qualified, and I didn't even know what that meant. Most people don't think to do the financing first. And that's where I think Good Vibe Squad is really winning in the market, because with your ads, you guys are getting in front of people that are likely to be buying a home soon and promoting hey, there's these programs available. There's programs for teachers. There's programs for healthcare workers. There's first-time homebuyer programs, veterans programs, all these different things. And if we can get to people when they're right at that beginning phase, instead of the other way where they're going and looking at houses maybe they can't afford, maybe they don't qualify. So us getting to them by Good Vibe Squad, by the marketing you guys are doing, it's a lot better for them too, because then they know exactly what they can qualify for. It puts us in a position where we can give back to our real estate partners as well, and we can provide some value for them because we've already done the process.
I love it, man. And that is the true partnership, right? So here's my other question here, Steven. Have you done any sort of like other lead gen before? What makes working with Good Vibe Squad different than other lead companies?
I did. So I did Facebook marketing on my own. I generated a lot of leads, but they were very low intent leads. I did buy Zillow leads for a couple years. They were higher intent than what I had been able to generate on Facebook myself. But the problem I had with Zillow leads is, one, they were extremely expensive. And then two, Zillow said that they were exclusive leads. They weren't going out to multiple people. But almost every time I talked to somebody, they were getting phone calls from other lenders. And that's not an issue that I've had with Good Vibe Squad.
If you're willing to even share, like, how much are you getting through working together with deals, and then even like the realtor partners that you have solidified and created partnerships with?
Yeah, I mean, one of the best examples I can give you, I started working with one of the top 40 agents in my city, which has over 6,000 real estate agents, and he's in the top 40. And that was directly from Good Vibe Squad marketing, because I had done a deal that I got with Good Vibe Squad, and he was the listing agent on the transaction. And during that process, I had contacted him a couple of times, giving him updates on how things were looking. Then about a week after that, I had another opportunity. I pre-qualified somebody that came through Good Vibe Squad, and I sent them directly to him. And he called me and he goes, man, he's like, I've never had a lender send me a lead that quickly. He's a very big systems guy and has built out a very specific system for how he's nurturing his clients, and our methods just meshed really, really well. And so he just immediately told me, he's like, man, he's like, I'm going to do all my business with you. You know, we get along really well. Him and I have done a lot of work together now, and that was all completely came from my partnership with Good Vibe Squad. It's been, a very good relationship for both of us. He sent me a lot of leads now.
I love it, man. And that's exactly how a system should be done, right? Can you give me some perspective and share what makes working with Good Vibe Squad different than any of the other companies that you've worked with?
Well, there's obviously the marketing and the lead gen, which we've talked quite a bit about, but then also you have the coaching calls where you've got some really, really all-star people in this group that are willing to share what they're doing and how they're talking to people. And that's been really huge for me, just being able to hear firsthand what's working. You, McBilly, you do your systems deep dive call every week where you go in and talk about systems and strategies. Preston has talked a lot about different sales strategies. He's the one that introduced me to Loom, which I use Loom like a beast in my business now. I have one real estate partner that I just made, and her and I are working on some deals together now. I sent her a video on rent versus buy that I did, and I had recorded it on Loom and went through and just talked about the differences and ran some calculations. People could see what I was doing. They could see the numbers. She sent that out to over 200 people in her database. That generated a lot of people contacting me and sending me applications. So not only is it the Loan More CRM, the Good Vibe Squad marketing, it's the coaching, it's the education, it's hearing from other people and learning what's working for you guys.
There's probably other loan officers that might be watching this same video the same way that you watch our other testimonial videos. They're still skeptical, but they're maybe looking to work with Good Vibe Squad. What would you tell them, Steven?
I would really tell them that go through, watch the testimonials like this one. I mean, watch and see what other people are saying. You can look and see tangibly what the results are of the people that have been working with Good Vibe Squad. Reach out, talk to you, McBilly, talk to Preston. You guys are constantly at Good Vibe Squad trying to develop and grow and do more for us as loan officers, that means a lot to me, because it's not just we built this system, we're just going to put it on autopilot and good luck with it. But you guys are invested in seeing us win, because ultimately that's how you guys win too. And I love that about you, what Preston and McBilly have built here and what they're continuing to try to do in developing themselves and us is worth investing in.
Dude, I really appreciate that, Steven. Thank you. I have one last question for you. What would you say is like your favorite thing about working with the Good Vibe Squad?
My favorite thing is really probably the community. Honestly, the Facebook group. That's probably my favorite thing. Because in this market where things are really hard and all these different noises that we're having to deal with, it can be a little overwhelming at times, just the negative media and everything around the housing market right now. So being able to go in and celebrate some wins with people and just having that community, it's actually probably my favorite thing. It's just, it really like reignites and it re-inspires you, like, okay, like, hey, we've got other people winning, and so that makes me want to win.